All right. Good morning, or good whatever time it is. If you are watching this, it is September 30th, 2020. Announcements are there's going to be a character quiz next week on Wednesday. So you'll be fine, though. I know it's a lot, but you'll be fine. So the learning target for today is I can understand what a character is. I can tell the difference between different types of characters. These are all important. You're going to have to know them moving forward in general. And again, it should be a very basic review. So we're going to go through it rather quickly. So, what is a character? Great question. It's someone who lives within a story. It could be a movie, TV show, video game, book, or etc. They interact with other characters. They move the plot forward. And there are lots and lots of different kinds of characters. So keep that in mind. So let me ask you this. Are all characters different? Why, of course they are. Who even thought they were all the same? There's characters that are all different. They're all unique in their own way. But we can still categorize them, which we will do. Just because we're all individuals does not mean we can't be characterized. So, first group of characters, dynamic or round. These experience a change or growth somehow in some way, shape, or form during a story. So it can be a sudden change or growth. It can be a physical or mental change. Does not include dying. And there's more than one side to this character. So most characters that are main characters in a story will fall into the category. I'm taking this off so you can see they change in some way, shape, or form. Example is Toy Story, and you can watch these at your own leisure with the own notes. And example would be in Toy Story 1. God, look how terrible it looks. Anyway, yeah, it looks pretty bad for the time, but anyway, that Buzz Lightyear changes quite drastically. You know, he starts off as thinking he is a real spaceman, and then he realizes that he is indeed a toy, and he kind of comes to that realization at the end of the story. That's a huge chain. A huge change, not chain. So keep that in mind. Static or flat characters are the exact opposite. They're characters that do not change throughout the story. We only see one side of them. They can be the foil or the opposite of major characters. So, like Scar from The Lion King, both the cartoon, which is better than the real version. Sorry, not sorry. He doesn't change. He's evil. He wants to be king. Or Squidward, he doesn't change. And if he does change, it goes back to being the same thing in the next episode. So who really cares? Characterization is a type of way of defining what a character is. There's direct characterization, which is when the writer physically tells us something about the character. So example would be the Beauty and the Beast intro, which you can watch on your own. And indirect would be when the writer shows us something about a character. So when you need to make an inference about that. So Aladdin giving kids the bread, and you can watch those on your own time. So there are many different types of characters that we talked about, but there's two main types that we can be lumped into. Protagonist, which is the central or main character of a story. It does not always happen to be the good guy, and I'll talk about that in a second, and works or moves against the antagonist. The antagonist is the opposition to the protagonist, not always a bad guy, so works to stop the protagonist. So, like for example, Superman is typically a good guy. He is the protagonist, and Lex Luthor is typically the bad guy. But it's more complicated than that. So, for example, is in the Joker movie from 2019, wonderful movie. The Joker himself is the protagonist. The story revolves around him. So the police, which are usually represented in movies as good, would be the antagonist. Or if Batman were to show up in this movie, which he doesn't, spoiler alert, that he would be the antagonist. Easy. So another example would be Venom. So like the Venom movie that came out in 2018, he is like a bad guy. He kills people. So if Spider-Man were to show up, Spider-Man would be the antagonist because he's the protagonist of the story. Even in TV, like Ed, Edd, and Eddy, I'm not sure if you've seen this show before. I'm sure some of you had. These guys in the show are technically bad. They're kids, and every episode they try to steal or scam people out of money so they can go buy Jawbreakers. That's stealing. So they are technically bad, but they're the main character, so they're the protagonist. So keep that in mind, please. And another group of character is a stereotype. So a stereotype is any character that shares well-known or common traits. So jocks are mean, bullies are big people. We know what they do and how they act. Not much is told because we already know or judge them. So we make inferences about them. So example would be like the jock. The jock is the most popular kid in school. He's good at sports. He has a beautiful girlfriend, or if it's a girl, she is really athletic and has a wonderful boyfriend. The bullies are really big and are like, just dumb. the nerd talks like this and he's got a bow tie and suspenders. The thing about stereotypes is they are not real, and unfortunately stereotyping goes really far in today's world. I don't think I have to talk to you about like all the protests and stuff. People have misconceptions about what's really going on because of stereotyping. So these you can do on your own. This is basically the end of the lesson for this. I hope you enjoyed watching.